Oh man, why am I doing this? But people need to know. I've never done a story time before, so this is an experiment for me, but I feel like I want to try this. I want to share some of the things I've been through in the hopes that one, people can relate, but most importantly that people can try and tell me what I did wrong or what happened, because this story, I don't think I did anything wrong, but I just need someone to explain to me what the hell happened.
Part done. Why go to Europe if not to hoe?
Our story starts in 2018. I'm on exchange, I'm in Sweden. I was like, I'm gonna go be a hoe. Because why would you go to Europe if you're like not gonna hoe? Like when you get to passport control, they'll be like, what is the reason for your visit? And if you're like, oh, I'm just here to be a hoe, they'll be like, oh, step on through. Welcome to our beautiful country. We're in Sweden, I get Tinder. I mean, I'm being very overdramatic about the whole being a hoe thing, but I was like, I may as well meet some people while I'm here, experience something new. Let's see what we find. I matched with this guy. He is a very, very good looking man. Like, oh my god, like beautiful. And I'm not usually crazy about like, oh, they have to look like this, that, and the other, because I'm not a materialistic bitch. But this man was hot, okay? Like this man was hot, and it's fine. I'm only human. He kind of resembles Michael Fassbender. He's like a cheap man's Michael Fassbender, which cute, because Michael's daddy, right? Like we can all admit that Michael is daddy. But anyway, so this guy and I are like talking or whatever we talk about. I don't even remember what we spoke about, but then we get onto the topic of wine. And so he's like, oh, I've got this bottle of wine. I'd love to drink it with you sometime. We can watch a movie, we can chat, you can tell me more about your country. And in my head, I know very much that this means you finna f. Of course I'm finna f. I'm sorry. Family, mom, please click away. Please stop watching. Please stop watching now.
Part 2. Come through.
Eventually we make plans. I invite him to my place. And here's the thing about Sweden. It gets it into your head that you are crazily safe. Like, I don't even think Sweden is as safe as it seems to be. But in your head, you're like, I'm not gonna get axe murdered. Like, no one's gonna do anything bad to me. I'll be fine. Because I think it's just that mentality of like, everyone minds their own business. They all sit like 5 meters away from each other. So it was that illusion. This is why I was like, come through to my place. And I had a contingency. I had an escape route, so it's not like, you know, I was letting into my space blindly. Man comes over. I see at the door already that he's got snacks too, so he didn't just bring the wine. I'm excited. I'm like, oh my god, anyone who brings snacks and wine, they can get it. So he knocks on the door and I open, and then I'm kind of like, hey, how are you? Give him a quick hug, and then I step back inside. Like, I'm walking away, and this man just stays standing at the door. So I'm like, oh, like, you can come in. What are you, a vampire or something? And then we laugh about it. He's like, and I'm like, oh, okay, just come inside. So he takes off his shoes, as is customary in Sweden, takes off his shoes and comes in. And then we're sitting on my bed. And it wasn't deliberate to have us sit on my bed. It's just that my apartment was very small. So there's like 2 places you can sit, one of which is the bed, the other is a windowsill. So like, you know. So he comes in, we crack open the wine. He bought glasses even. He bought wine glasses because I didn't have. But it was great. So we're drinking our wine, we're talking. Now, you guys remember the like vampire reference I made at the beginning of the story? You guys are gonna have to keep that in your head a little bit because it's gonna come back.
Part 2. I am not saying he is a vampire, but...
So while we're talking, he tells me that he's Romanian and that he's from Transylvania. And if you haven't done the math yet, Transylvania is where Count Dracula comes from, and a whole bunch of other vampires, but just, again, bear it in mind. So we keep talking, I get more comfortable, and that's the thing with me, when I drink wine, I get more comfortable, and I also, mom click away, get very aroused. Like, I don't know, it's not my fault, it's just alcohol does that to people, doesn't it? So I'm like now sufficiently comfortable and sufficiently aroused, and I'm assuming that he is too, because he starts getting a bit more comfortable. He's kind of leaning back a bit. He's like, oh, and I keep saying like, oh, don't worry, get more comfortable, here's a pillow. And he's like, oh yeah, like, would you mind if I took my shirt off? And I'm like, Do I look like someone who would mind if you took your shirt off? Of course not, baby boy. Do what you feel. He didn't take his shirt off yet. Now, I also want to mention, and I'm not putting ideas in your head, I want to mention that this guy is very calculated. He's very smooth. He's the type of person that, let me demonstrate. He won't just drink his wine. He's sitting there like twirling his glass like,
and tell me about the weather in South Africa. Like, is it as hot as they say?
Who speaks like that? Unless they are a, I don't know, 18th century vampire from Transylvania who cannot just step into your house without being invited in. And I know I'm jumping the gun, but like, hear me out. So eventually, we've polished off this bottle of wine. Someone made a move on someone because now we're making out, naturally, as you do. And while all this action is going down, I'm not gonna say that he was spending a lot of time kissing my neck, but he was. You can do with that what you will. How do I describe the next sequence of events without going into too much detail? Clothes are flying off, I guess. And at some point, I step away because I need to pee. I have a very small bladder. Everyone knows this. So I'm like, hey, excuse me, I just need to go pee. So I leave to pee and I give myself a pep talk in the mirror. I'm like,
girl, you can do this. You're about to, oh my god, look at this Michael Fassbender looking. Oh my god, babes, you got this. You're gonna kill it.
I'm hyped at this point. So I'm done in the bathroom, I step out and I go back to the bed. He's still lying there looking like a mother snack. I'm ready. I have hyped myself up. So I go in to resume from where we stopped, which in essence is me straddling. Oh man, why am I doing this? But people need to know. And then like 2 minutes in, he's like, like nothing deep has happened yet. Pardon the pun. He's like, So I'm like, He's like, yeah, no, we need a... So I'm like, oh, no, what's wrong? What's up? And he's like, no, you seem a bit nervous. I would like to inform you guys that I was the least nervous I've ever been in my life. Because I am, one, sufficiently wind up, two, in Europe to be a hoe. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm totally fine. But like, we can cool it for a bit if you want. It's fine, don't worry. So then he's like, yeah, I think we just need to take things slow, whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's not his accent, but still. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, like we can just hang then? Is that what people do? Like I was really not in the mood to chill and talk to someone, but I was like, I will do it if it'll make you feel more comfortable. A key fact that I forgot to mention actually throughout this whole story is that he keeps speaking about this film called The Last Man on Earth. If you haven't seen it, it's a film about this guy who's lived forever, basically. He doesn't have powers, but he's just a weird, like, supernatural kind of guy. And this guy keeps mentioning it at intervals during our date. He keeps being like, oh, like in The Last Man on Earth, watch The Last Man on Earth, it's my favorite film. It explains so much, da-da-da. So now we're at this weird, awkward, dead-end point, and Nigga Mans gets up, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's going to the bath. Nigga Mans puts his jeans on. I'm like, oh, okay, he's just gonna chill with his jeans on. Nigga Man puts his shirt up. Nigga Mans proceeds to grab his wine glasses. I'm like, oh, he's doing the dishes, how kind. And he goes to the door and puts his shoes on. I'm like, okay. 2 seconds later, this man is out the door, barely having said goodbye, walks out. Close the door. And I'm sitting there. What just happened?
The conclusion. Is he a vampire ?
Someone explain to me. Like, my conclusion to this whole story. I'm not saying, like, you guys hear me. I'm not saying that he's a vampire, but I think he thinks he's a vampire. All of that night was weird. All of the events I've just described are sufficiently weird, right? Like, this man thinks he's a vampire. Like, he thinks he's a vampire. What I'm gonna need from you guys after hearing all of these events, in the comments, write for me what you think. What do you think actually happened? Because we didn't speak since. When you got home, you texted me and you said, I've just gotten home. Thanks for having me. And I said, yeah, no problem. Sorry things got a bit weird, because I still didn't know what was up. And then he was like, yeah, of course, don't forget to watch The Last Man on Earth. And that was the last thing he said to me, to watch this movie about this crazy supernatural being who can live forever. I don't know. My theory is that he thinks he's a vampire, but the jury's out. You guys tell me what you think happened, because I'm curious. Was he just rejecting me? Who knows? Who knows? In any case, that is the end of my story. I feel... Let me know what you think. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you at some point in the near future with possibly another weird random story, because I've got a lot. There's a lot of them.